Hey everybody, we are here with Once Upon a Tabletop Clue. And you may have, if you've been paying attention to all the things we've been talking about this show, you may notice that we have two people on that we didn't say we were going to have on, which primarily are Thomas up there, who was just on Optiverse, if you were watching Optiverse earlier today. Say hello, Thomas.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, and also Opti, who is right there, and everybody knows Opti. He's doing his dance. We had a scheduling malfunction, a fault of no one, so I know that our other two, Chris and Austin, might be watching and listening and feeling guilty, and I want them not to because it was a big miscommunication, and that's nobody's fault. But we were able to fix it. We got some people in. Fortunately, Clue is a game that is easy to learn, so we're going to go with it. But we're going to be playing Clue tonight on Once Upon a Tabletop. This is a show where we role-play the action at the table, and we have a lot of fun doing it. My name is Bobby, and our regular hosts here are Oz above me, who's going to be playing Mrs. White, if you are familiar with Clue. Say hello, Oz. I didn't hear you.
Hello, Tap.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you've been having cutting out issues lately, but just keep talking, and it usually just cuts out the first couple of, second or two for you. So just at the beginning of every sentence, go, and then start talking.
Okay.
And then also, what was that?
Mega echo just now.
Yeah, we got.
Thomas is under Miss Scarlet. Did we switch characters?
Yep, we switched them. Thomas is going to be Miss Scarlet. Opti's going to be Colonel Mustard. And speaking next to me there is Sarah. Sarah Krause, who's going to be Mrs. Peacock. Say hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Oh, someone always has to make that joke, so I'm glad it was you. I
hate myself a little bit.
I am getting an echo from somewhere. Let's see. But. We'll figure it out who it was. And finally, you think it might have been Cliff?
Wear your headset, maybe?
Isn't it open?
Well, there we go. Cliff is playing Mr. Green. He's our other normal host for Once Upon a Tabletop. How's it going, Cliff?
Oh, well, enjoying this lovely Stream-a-Thon. That's been a lot of fun. Oh my gosh, the chaos and paranoia. That was nuts. I blame Sarah.
Yeah, it'll take a minute.
I blame Sarah too, honestly, at this point.
I'm going to be playing Professor Plum, and we're going to be delving into a murder mystery tonight. What game are we going to be playing, Oz? I know I already said it, but this is how I always do Once Upon a Tabletop. What game are we going to be playing tonight?
In Clue, the game of murder.
That's right.
Jeez.
Classic murder mystery. Let me go ahead and explain how this game works for anybody who's listening or watching and hasn't played before, or for anybody who's was just last second pulled in and doesn't know how to play. So here we go. So Clue is a classic murder mystery board game where we all take the roles of both suspects and detectives in a case to solve the mystery of who killed Mr. Body. The rules of Clue are simple. Beginning with Miss Scarlet and continuing clockwise around the board, each player will take dice, roll, and move the number of spaces indicated. You move up, down, left, or right, and you can't make diagonal moves. You can't re-enter a space which you've moved through. Well, I'm going through this fast. We'll make sure to re-emphasize this part later. But basically, you're just moving through the board based on the way you roll. Once a player moves into a room, their movement stops immediately. And you do not have to, your movement stops immediately, and you can make a suggestion of who might have performed this murder. And these suggestions are about of how the murder was committed. To do this, you name a player, a weapon, and a room. And the room you're suggesting must be the room in which you are currently occupying. The player who's being suggested must move their pawn to that room, and the weapon must also be moved. And then we go around the table trying to disprove the suggestion that the person made by secretly handing them any evidence that we have about that. At any point, if you feel like you have enough evidence to name who the murderer is, where they committed the murder, and with what weapon, you may make an accusation. And if you make an accusation and you're wrong, basically that means you lose. You're out of the game. But if you make an accusation and you're correct, then you win. We will handle all those things when they happen, because we don't have a lot of time to explain how it works in detail. Are you guys ready to have some fun?
Because I think we still need to get Riopel in here, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I still have a few minutes of download to go.
No problem.
So we get to buy time.
No problem. You know what? That gives us time to explain the most fun feature of Once Upon a Tabletop Oz. Would you like to explain that while I change into another shirt?
You'll want to pay attention to the Once Upon a Wheel. Every $25 that we raise on our fundraiser, you can basically spin the wheel. And when you spin that wheel, we'll land on something that will affect our story and our game. So and the decision may be up to you.
When I push the flip button, can everybody see that or just me?
Nobody can see it. We see a question mark.
Yeah, when it's in your hand, no one else can see it.
When it's out of your hand, we can all see it.
So at certain
Unless
points,
you flip it first.
Yeah, at certain points in the game, we're going to have to secretly hand our cards to other people and put it into their hands. What you're going to want to do when you do that is you want to flip it before you take it out of your hand so it's face down, and then slide it across the table and either put it down and wait for that person to pick it up, or slide it into their hand. Try not to drop it off the table, but just do not ever have it flipped face up when it leaves your hand. Otherwise, we'll all see it.
So shall we begin introducing our characters?
Please do.
All right, well, I guess I'll begin. My name is Mrs. White. I am the maid of the two-door mansion. I've been working for Mr. Body for close to 25 years now, and honestly, I could use a drink.
Go ahead.
I am Colonel Mustard. I was in the war with Mr. Body, although I have to be honest, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I spend most of my time as a liaison to the Pentagon. Communism was a red herring.
What about Miss Scarlet?
Hi, I'm Miss Scarlet. To be frank, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here. Just like Mr. Mustard, and how I ended up caught up in this dreadful situation.
Mr. Green?
Hello, yes, I'm Mr. Green. I own a number of different automobile chains, so I'm incredibly wealthy and moneyed, established in the area. I'm rich and entitled, so there.
So there.
Also, all of you and whoever died and don't care. But, I never look past the opportunity to put one over on one of my neighbors, so if I can get one of you pinned with the murder you committed, so much the better.
And how about Mrs. Peacock? Can't hear you, Mrs. Peacock.
Sorry about that. It appears that Mr. Peacock is away on business, so I am in the area to enjoy myself. And Mr. Green sounds just charming over there. Here's to you, darling.
And hold on, I need a prop before I can do
mine. Pulling out the props.
Well, yes, my name is Professor Plum, and I work at the university, and I'm quite a studied individual, and I was invited over here to, well, I'm not sure why, but I always look for an opportunity to come to Mr. Body's estate because he has quite the extensive library. All right. So, let's see. I'm going to test something real fast. And,
how's the game downloading going?
hit.
Nah.
All right. Who else
Excellent.
is-
So then, while it is downloading, why don't we role play the party while Mr. Body is still alive?
Miss Scarlet, good to see you again.
Sarah, I think the echo is coming from your end somehow.
Working on it.
Okay. Well,
Mr. Green's generally hanging
Also,
around.
wait,
the bar.
do you have the music pulled up?
not yet. Thank you for reminding me,
well,
though.
I've been playing music this whole time.
Well, you know,
What kind of party is this with no music?
why don't you give me a hard time about it?
Go to the go to that Roll20 link that I posted, and you'll get to hear a dynamic soundtrack that I've assembled
Yeah.
thanks to Incompetech.
Did I fix it?
Yeah. Yes, I believe that you did.
I hear your
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there's
This
the
is
thing.
always a problem. Why are you ever on a stream with me, Oz? This has never been a problem before.
There we go.
I'm fixing it. Don't worry. And let's see. Default.
Yes, give him a hard time about it, says Avenzi.
Yeah. Well, just ignore it. Don't ignore our chat room. I'll deal with him in private. All right. So the chat can hear the music now. We're all getting over the jitters of dealing with things, and I say we're at the party together, and well, the library here is quite impressive, Mr. Body. You have the collected works of Voltaire, I see.
Mrs. White comes and pours you a drink, refills Mr. Body's glass as well, and walks away.
Yes, thank you.
Darling.
Well, I'm less interested in the library than in Miss Scarlet, if I'm being honest. It's good to see you again, darling.
It's very flattering of you. How are you doing, my good man?
I'm well. Job keeps me busy, but how's biz for you? Are the girls still doing all right?
Well, yeah, everything's just fine with school, but we're pretty bored lately.
That's nice. That's nice.
Oh, is it?
All right.
Mr. Green is mostly hanging out in the lounge near the liquor cabinet. Basically, looking for wherever Mr. Body stashes his best stuff, not the stuff that he's got set out. And, you know.
Mrs. White circles around and says, "What would you like? A man of your stature, I'm sure Mr. Body won't mind."
Just whatever is the best stuff.
She reaches down and deep into the cabinet and pulls out one of those like glass bottles that have like the engravings, the diamond, like square diamond-y things, and pops the top, the crystal top, and pours the whiskey into your glass. It's a bourbon.
Well, thank you. Give it a bit of a sniff and take a sip. That's the good stuff.
Say, if there's any more of that,
Even make
I
this
wouldn't
party
mind a glass
tolerable.
myself.
Move along, my dear. He's looking for a real woman tonight.
All right. Where are we with Miss Scarlet? Miss Scarlet, how's your progress in getting to the party? I say.
I'll give her a ride if that's all right.
Jolly good, jolly good.
I just love innuendo.
Who wants to roleplay Mr. Body?
No.
No?
Good job,
Okay,
everyone.
I'll be Mr. Body. Hello. Welcome to my home, my humble place. It's nice of you to be here. I enjoy entertaining people in this time of great capitalist wonderland that is the late 19th, early 20th century.
To capitalism.
Yeah.
To capitalism, indeed.
Clink.
Here, and I drink my bourbon to capitalism.
It's hard to say.
I sneak vodka from my flask.
I'm glad you all came here. I had the place. I enjoy entertaining. Some of you have been here before. Mrs. Peacock, it's nice to have you back.
Oh, it's just lovely to see you again. Mwah, mwah.
Mwah. Yes, we enjoy having Mrs. Peacock here. She always loves to play croquet in the green. It's quite a good time. It's storming now, of course, but if it weren't, she would show you quite how amazing she is at whacking the balls.
And I'm great at teaching the gentlemen how to fix their posturing during croquet as well.
I thought it was pronounced croquette.
We pronounce it of the French fashion here, Colonel Mustard.
The French are always so refined and, well, they have their talents as well.
And Mr. Green, it's nice to have you back as well.
Yes, well, there's that matter of business we have to discuss.
Absolutely, but not amongst mixed company, if you don't mind.
Well, I suppose, of course, after the party tomorrow, I imagine. I'll probably have to endure one of those croquet games or two, I suppose.
Hardly enduring, indeed, because they are quite fun, quite fun. Mrs. White will make sure to ensure that you all have the any refreshments that you need.
I run my hand up Mr. Green's arm and go, "Oh, don't worry, darling. I'll teach you the ropes."
You mentioned mixed company. There aren't any Russians here, are there?
Oh, goodness, no. I'm Colonel Mustard. Oh, what a rube you are.
That's good. That's good, because you can never be too paranoid.
All right, looks like Miss Scarlet finally arrived. Welcome, Miss Scarlet, to my humble abode. You are quite the debutante.
She certainly is.
Excuse my lateness. I was invited a tad late to the party.
That is all right. We take, we entertain all kinds of company, even those fashionably late, as fashionable is quite the descriptor that describes you, I'm sure. Wait, I hear something outside, and then cracks, thunder and lightning, and the lights go out.
Ah!
What now?
I squeal and jump into Mr. Green's lap.
I squeal and jump into Miss Scarlet's lap.
Oh dear God!
It's been a while since anyone's
computer.
told me that. Well,
Mr. Green sort of stands up and lets
wait.
Mrs. Peacock fall on the ground, steps away.
Miss Scarlet, is there anything that you need to here? To flip cards and pass them around potentially?
Yeah, I think so. Might take a try or two, but I should be up.
You hover over your card, hit It'll
Yeah.
flip the card, and then you can drag it and pass it into the play area of the person that you're passing it to.
Right. So for the time being,
And you know
just
how to
be,
play Clue, right?
just be extra cautious. We'll walk everybody through it for the first rounds at least. Did you get the link that I dropped to the chart that you can use to keep your evidence?
Yes, I did. I've yet to copy that page that I can use, but I have it.
Good. All right. Let me do that as well, and we'll get started. So you explained the Once Upon a Wheel to everyone?
I did.
Good. All right. Well then, we will be keeping track every $25 that we get on the donation thing. Then in our fundraiser, then we will spin the wheel and we'll make it happen. The play always starts in this game with Miss Scarlet. So the lights come back up after everybody squeals and screams, and Mr. Body is from the room is missing, but we did hear a door open and close in the room that we were in. Once somebody volunteers to go out into the hallway, perhaps Mrs. White is in the hallway already, and she does what? Oh, and we rush out.
Mr. Body! No!
And then we
Mr. Green says, "Oh, sorry about that. You startled me," and helps Mrs. Peacock up.
But no worries, darling. Just, I'm a little frightened with the power outage, I suppose.
I'll protect you.
Professor Plum
Wow,
rushes
what's all
out
that racket? Tell that woman to be quiet.
as we all rush out into the hallway to see what's going on. Those of us who do, we see on the floor what Mrs. White is screaming about. Mr. Body has been murdered.
It appears that's a dead body. That's probably not the appropriate time to joke right now.
That's not right at all. Man's been murdered in his own home.
My employer! My employment!
All right.
Oh, quiet down. You probably did it.
Now, please. We
It's
must
always
all remain
inside
calm
joke.
in these emergency situations until the constable can be called. We must find out what happened here.
You know what I'd like to see is maybe a working map of the mansion.
Yes.
And maybe even our friends could see that map as well.
Indeed. Perhaps we will do that.
Yes.
Maybe just looking at your faces isn't enough to stimulate me at this party.
I don't know, you seem pretty stimulated by Miss Scarlet over there.
Now,
I'm stimulated by all
our new friends,
by everyone.
our new friends need to know that it's very important that you try as hard as you can not to look at the stream video, because you'll be seeing my cards, perhaps sometimes, and we don't want you to find out what evidence
All right.
I have.
Goodbye, chat.
You can
Well-
you can pop out the chat. Do you know how to pop out the chat?
I don't. Secrets.
In the chat,
Show me
you
how
can
to
click.
pop out that chat.
Show me that juicy double. The pop out the chat by clicking the wheel and the gear wheel in the chat under the chat, and there's a button called pop out, and it'll put the chat in its own window, so you don't have to have the stream open.
Speaking of pop out, my boy,
Yeah.
I seem to have popped out of my frame.
Yeah, good idea to fix that.
I was in the war, and that's just not how you treat someone of my rank.
Or stature.
Or
Eyes with
spice.
her apron.
A military man. I suppose you have some muscle under all that fabric, huh?
I do indeed have stories to tell and muscles underneath my jacket. That's right.
Now is not the time to talk about muscles. Murdered, and not just any man, Mr. Body.
All
Is that a
right.
metaphor?
So play in this game, I'm going to move us on. Play in this game always begins with Miss Scarlet. So Miss Scarlet will roll the dice first. Everybody, Miss Scarlet is located up by the hall. That's where she starts. So roll, I believe it might behoove us to roll both dice tonight, just because we're getting started later.
Sure.
So what did you roll? Let's go take a look. A 6. So now the way you move is you can move orthogonally. You cannot move diagonally, and you cannot occupy the same spot twice in a single turn. So you can move 6 spots. You have the red pawn, Miss Scarlet, and if you go inside a door into a room, you can make a suggestion. That's how you make suggestions as to who might have done something, and you have to make suggestions in order to find evidence as to what happened. So that's what you want to do, is move towards a door and get into a room.
Okay, and I just walk into a room and make a random suggestion, and that's
Yes.
how I make.
Once you get into a room, we'll handle that. The best thing for you to do, probably, I'm not trying to tell you how to play the game because there's all sorts of strategies for how to do this, but probably you want to head towards a room that if you don't have evidence for, but I will start with the caveat that some people do go and make suggestions that include rooms that they have evidence for. There's lots of reasons to do that. So anyway, you want to get to a room so you can make a suggestion.
Right, and with 6, I don't know that I can right now.
Yeah, it'll probably be the next turn.
So yeah, let's just move there for now.
All right. So next person, then we will go, we will move clockwise around the table. And so the next person, we're going to use the stream table, not the Once Upon a Tabletop table. So that will not be Mr. Colonel Mustard. It will be me. So put those dice down. We're going to go around like I said, the table on the stream. So it'll be then me, Sarah, Cliff, Oz, and Opti.
You know, there's a hierarchy to these things, and I don't appreciate you.
He's over here. Blue, then purple, then white.
Yes. Well, we can go around the table if it would be easier for you guys. That's all I really care about, is that we don't get confused. So,
Like the actual table.
all right. So then Colonel Mustard will go next. Whoa. Colonel Mustard rolled
That's quite a roll.
a 9.
1, 2, 3, 4. Dang it, I missed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
And
8.
You don't have to have an exact
And,
roll to get into a room, so your turn ends immediately now that you're in the lounge. Now, the way this works is you're going to make a suggestion by stating a place, a weapon, and a person that you think perhaps might have done this. And to do that, you'll move that person's pawn to that room. So who do you want to suggest? It does not have to be the revolver, because we will also move the weapon to that. The locations of the weapons are inconsequential.
Are you explaining for me or for others? Because
For you and for others.
I already know this, being a military man. So I'm going to keep it basic and only bring myself in and the lounge. So
You're suggesting that you may have done something.
I am trying to throw everyone off by opening the possibility of such, and as a result, I would like
Everyone
to.
is a suspect.
I believe Mrs. White needs to needs to show me a card, show me what she's got, even.
We move left around like the other way
Is
around.
that how it works?
Oh wait,
I don't
you
know.
move to the person to your left. So yes, it would be Mrs. White.
Wait, to the person to my left.
Miss Scarlet.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Mrs. Scarlet, if you were sitting at the table, Mrs. Scarlet
you're
would
right.
be at
You're
your right. So Mrs. White will show
Are
first.
we going?
Okay. So yes, Mrs. White.
We'll say, instead of saying to the left, we'll say clockwise.
And so because I've asked for Mr. Mustard Colonel Mustard and the revolver in the lounge. If Miss White has any of those cards, she must pick one and show me one of them.
Yes, secretly. So that no one else.
Into presupposition.
If she doesn't, then it moves to Mr. Green.
Right. So, Mrs. White, do you have any evidence that this suggestion is false?
Are you muted?
Mrs. White, I've been told that I'm boring before, but that is no cause to ignore someone who's directly speaking to you.
What more can you
not
expect
hear
of the
us,
hell?
Oz? Aren't you Mrs.
Yes,
White?
we've been talking.
Said I
to
had
you.
nothing.
Oh, we didn't
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
We didn't hear that.
Didn't hear
Very good, Mr. Green, is it? What do you think about my suggestion?
Sounds plausible enough to me, though.
No.
I'm not sure why you'd admit to it if you did it that way, or if
I
you
see
even
a
did it.
card.
Yeah, flip that
everybody else
card
see
over
that?
quickly, whoever's card that is.
I certainly don't have any evidence to the
card.
contrary. Are you saying you killed him? Are you
No, I'm
admitting
not
to murder,
necessarily
sir?
saying that. I'm just trying to cover all the bases. So then I would, I guess, Mrs. Peacock, are you willing to discuss this with me?
What is your suggestion, darling?
I was just wondering if you had any evidence that I may have been the murderer, or that it may have been in the lounge, or with the revolver. And if you do, I'd like to see that evidence.
That if the evidence is true, or for me to disprove that evidence?
Half a dozen of one, 6 of a kind.
Show him one of the cards if you have one.
I dare say I'm sure I could convince you otherwise.
Interesting.
All right, then. How do I give it back?
Just hand it back to her. There you go.
Thank you, darling.
Well, I appreciate that. You see, I can clearly not be the murderer. Because there's evidence against it.
Now, Mr. Colonel, I'm sorry, you've earned your rank. Colonel Mustard. I find it interesting that you would make such a claim of yourself, or try to convince other people that maybe perhaps it wasn't you. You seem so fixated on a revolver too, a weapon I'm sure you learned very well how to use in the war.
Ah, yes. In fact, I brought mine. Yes, this looks very similar to one I might have used back in the war. That is.
I'll be keeping my eye on you, Colonel Mustard.
And I will have my eye on all of you as well.
I don't have any evidence. What about you, Miss Scarlet?
No, wait. I've already gotten the evidence, so it's now Mrs. White's turn.
No, we go around one at a time, and everybody has to give it up.
That's what?
Isn't that how it works? Let me
Isn't
read
that what
it.
we just did?
No. What? Yeah. Once
Give that
somebody shows me
to you.
something, my turn ends, and then the next person goes.
Oh.
I thought you were a studied man.
Well, I must consult a book on this.
And you keep your mouth shut, the
I
hell.
see. Taken aback, and I'm not able to open the ballroom that I have taken.
Whose turn is it?
Mrs. White, yeah.
Miss White. But I don't believe that she can enter any place. She'll just be stuck outside the rooms.
That's what I said.
But right.
Am I
but,
still having audio issues?
Well, no. Some people just don't want to listen to you because you're the maid. I'm Mr. Green. I think it's your turn. I'm not one of those people, by the way. I find you very human.
Yeah.
I find you very human, Mr. Colonel Mustard.
Is everything okay, Mr. Green? You seem to develop a limp.
What? No, just a whole lot of nonsense. Who cares? That's it for my turn, I guess. I moved 2 squares.
You're so blasé about this whole thing. Are you sure you even care about people? You some sort of monster? Some sort of, what do they call that? Psychopath?
A psychopath.
Man was murdered in his own home, and you talk to me about monsters?
I mean, if you did it, then, there's a possibility.
Of course I didn't do it.
Well, we're all suspects.
That's ridiculous.
All right, Mrs. Peacock, perhaps you'd like to roll the bones, as they say.
Well, I think
Mr. Stonebender, we really appreciate everything that you've done to keep Mr. Body alive, or at least a memory of him.
Well, I will
Thank you,
slowly make my way forward. I'm being cautious, of course, since there's a murderer afoot.
Indeed.
I don't think he was stabbed there. I think it was in the back.
He probably just had a heart attack.
Yeah, I don't think he ever had a shot.
Opti, I just got that and I hate you.
But you can't have him just hanging around.
Hold on, it's my turn. Give me those dice.
You want him to be part of the club.
All right.
Not to throw a wrench in your plans.
I rolled a 10. I will...
Nothing. Come on, guys. I'm crunching it there.
I would like to make my way to the library, but perhaps I'll go to the study on the way.
It's the revolving door of people.
1, 2, 3, 4. I've got enough. I'm in the study. Well, let's see. All right. I'm interested in Colonel Mustard as a suspect as well. And I think perhaps, who's to say that Colonel Mustard was not in the study with the knife or the revolver? Let's go ahead with it. Let's see how well you do use a revolver, sir, and perhaps perhaps you could have made it to the study while no one was looking. You tried to. You were preoccupied. I don't know what I'm saying now. Just show me how I might be wrong. Miss Scarlet, you seem to have been cozy with Colonel Mustard. Can you say otherwise? Can you provide an alibi?
Are you going to make a guess?
Yes, I said Colonel Mustard
talking?
in the study with the knife.
But I'm not in the study. You'll have to drag my...
Colonel Mustard, does this room look familiar to you, sir?
I'm sorry, it does not, and I...
And with the revolver, not with the knife.
I do not appreciate the accusation. Pass. Go fish. Just like this expedition that you're on.
All right. Miss Scarlet would have been... Was Miss Scarlet next? Who was next?
You can't stick the truth.
It's me.
No, what even, Opti?
Are you trying to show me one of those, Miss Scarlet?
Yes, but I believe it's someone else first.
No, you were first.
I have nothing in regards to this.
Oh,
Remember to flip the card first in your hand before.
All right, thank you.
Pass.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'm not quite sure this stealth, but there you go. I think that might be of interest if I'm not.
Interesting, Miss Scarlet. Interesting. I'll take your counsel into consideration. Deduction is how we will solve this murder.
Hearing Miss Scarlet as French is now headcanon for me.
I'm sorry, it just happened.
All right, who's next?
Miss
Next
Scarlet.
to roll.
I believe it's me.
Miss Scarlet.
You sure? I think it's me. My turn.
No, I think it's B, right?
Okay, it is Miss
Miss
Scarlet.
Scarlet.
So here's the confusion that we were having. We were going based on the position of the pawns around the board for this first round, but other half of us are going by the position of how we're sitting at the table. It is, which is the same actually. So it is Miss Scarlet's turn. It's just Miss White was out of order on the table. So here's what we're gonna do. Miss Scarlet's gonna go. That's gonna conclude everybody's first turn, and then we'll continue with Colonel Mustard, and we'll just shift Miss White.
Scarlet already went, so this is actually her second turn.
Yeah, so it's Mrs.
Oh.
White first.
We're going, okay, after Plum, of the board positions, yes? So, like the starting position. So there's purple, yellow, then white, green, blue, purple.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlet is next.
All right. Miss Scarlet, did you roll?
Alright, no, not yet.
You threw it off the table.
That was awesome. That was, I mean,
Oh,
kind of.
back it up.
Now what are you gonna do?
There. Did
That's
that work?
ghetto. They make you get it off the floor.
I'm so sorry.
Did
There's
we?
no
The table
floor.
is like floating like 10 feet up the floor. Up the...
Did we get it?
Okay.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah, it's right there.
How bizarre.
All right. So just drag, select them by dragging and selecting them, and then right-click roll. 5, Miss Scarlet.
Ooh. I guess I'm gonna go into the room right there.
It's a good room. I've been there.
Uh-huh.
All right. So now you must make a suggestion. What are you thinking, Miss Scarlet? Perhaps.
I know what she's thinking.
Oh, you do, don't you? No, I think the professor seems to have been a bit too interested in our dear colonel. Makes me suspicious. Maybe something with the knife in here? Bust. Oh, there. Professor in that room with the knife?
The professor in the lounge with the knife. Well, I can
Am I
assure
meant to do that now because I'm on his left?
Yes, you're next. You attempt to disprove first.
So that's Plum in the study with the knife.
Yes. I resent the implication, Miss Scarlet. I thought we had.
No, Plum in the lounge with the knife.
Yes, I thought we were building a good rapport.
What are you speaking of? We haven't addressed each other all evening.
Exactly. I haven't harassed you like the Colonel here. I thought maybe we would develop a good rapport due to my respect.
Dead Cat, are you Riopel?
Yes.
Riopel, are you dead?
Yeah.
A free supplice has sent $25 in our direction. Spin of the Once Upon a Wheel.
We really appreciate you supporting the war effort.
So what does?
Wait, what just happened? Excuse me.
Radio Free Supplice just sent $25 in our direction.
All right. So
Can I
we're-
just take a moment and let everyone know if they haven't seen the movie based on our lives, based on Clue? It's definitely worth watching. I mean, really, it's in my top 5 of all time.
All right,
Definitely
so
watch it.
we are going to spin the Once Upon a Wheel in order to get some of this, get some of these juicy role play actions going. Whenever we get $25 in total, not just by one person, but of course it can, like Radio Free Supplice. Thank you, sir. Can be from one person, but what the heck? Skip, please. Streamlabs is always trying to get us to new things.
New things aren't always bad, you know.
Yeah, well, in the middle of my stream it is. So we're going to.
As Miss Scarlet can tell you.
Oh.
We're gonna spin the wheel and we're gonna show you guys what happens. So here we go. Spinning the wheel.
Make the deal.
Ding, ding, ding. It says plot twist. That's what happened, plot twist. Oz, will you explain to everybody what it means when we roll a plot twist?
A plot twist means that something happens within the story, a revelation of some kind, and that is going to be up to, I suppose we should leave it to the current player.
A revelation of some kind.
Chat, or do we leave it to, because do we know who, I know Radio Free did this, but would we be able to know who marked the 25 every time that we do it?
We won't I mean, we might be able to. So Radio Free Supplice, we do know at least now. So why don't we go with that? So...
If anything, we can also roll for it.
So a plot twist is going to affect somebody, and what is that? Is that going to have a mechanical impact on the game?
No. No, it's just a story plot twist.
So
we didn't hear anything you just said.
Something was revealed in the thing. So Radio Free Supplice, you're going to pick one of us to reveal some sort of a plot twist, some sort of new information entered into the story that is going to change.
I say we let fate decide.
Well, the way Once Upon a Tabletop works is that the person who spun the wheel, caused the wheel to get spun.
Radio Free Supplice just told us to roll for it.
Oh, okay,
jackass.
Thank you. Who invited this guy?
I'm beginning to think that you're a communist.
Well, you know, I have read all of Marx's works.
So let's make Professor Plum number 1 and go around the board that way. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's
Just
fine.
everybody roll
Number
the
one.
pair of dice. I just rolled them.
Need
Oh,
one
we're gonna
die.
do it by roll.
Just one die.
And starting with Professor Plum is number 1? Plot twist.
All right. Wait. So is it me? I thought we. Okay, this is confusing me. So is it? Just tell me who's. Is it me with a plot twist?
Yep.
All right. So.
I just made that up, but yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna all roll dice, but it was taking so long. We're all gonna go along with your
No one
suggestion.
was. Yeah,
Go
no one was
for it.
making a decision.
Yeah. So it turns out, flustered and flabbergasted by Colonel Mustard's and Miss Scarlet's seemingly ganging up on me, I throw my arms up, and out of the pocket of my jacket flies and lands right at the feet of Colonel Mustard. In fact, a copy of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto.
That's it. I'm contacting I'm contacting J. Edgar Hoover.
No, it's not what you think. This is part of the reason I was invited here. There was a part of his library that was missing, and I certainly don't have to explain myself to you. I did not kill that man.
You know, you're Mr. Plum. Is that because you're a pinko commie sympathizer?
No, of course not. I'm a lover of knowledge and a studier of all things history and literature and
Communism.
Right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I think he might be a communist. He's got enough opportunity, but I don't think he's ever purchased a car from me.
You know, I've heard that the smarter you get, the more likely you are to buy into communism. And I'm thinking that you're just too smart for your own good. You need to dumb it down like like America does it.
I won't have any of this. Huh. And I storm out of the lounge.
I just want to point out the Canadian's not allowed to laugh at that.
All right, so
Sorry.
that was. I think it is Colonel Mustard's turn now to roll.
That's right. You know, in America, we do things decently and in order.
7.
That's why I always roll high. I'm gonna, and also in America, we get hungry, so I'm gonna go to the kitchen.
Use that secret passage over there, huh? As you can see, there's a secret passage from the study to the kitchen. How did you stumble upon this secret passage, Colonel Mustard? Sir.
Well, as it happens, I was I had found that communism book, and I went to see what hidden messages you had, and when I moved it, my hand slipped and I fell through a hole, and took me to a God, I can't talk, a secret underground passage to the kitchen, which is where I wanted to go in the first place. So here I am, and I can't help thinking that maybe the killer might have used this secret passage.
Wow.
And I brought my trusty revolver with me.
Because you never know.
Yeah, I'd like to bring Miss White into this conversation and see if, because she's close. No, not actually bring her in. Just put her back where she was. And just ask her if maybe she has any evidence of kitchen revolvers or mustard.
Are you still accusing yourself, darling?
He's trying to clear his name. Unsuccessfully, I might add.
That's correct.
That's a very strange way of doing it, but who am I to stop?
You don't know me.
Walking around, pointing his revolver at things.
I'd like to know you.
Well then, hey, we have a quorum. Okay, well then, Mr. Green, I know we've talked about this before, but do you have any knowledge of kitchens, revolvers, or mustard?
No, you're just being ridiculous. Throwing all of this into a bunch of chaos. Stop talking so much.
Very well. How about
Daft
you,
old man,
Miss Peacock?
What is your accusation, darling?
Oh, just gathering evidence, really. But do you have anything to say about revolvers, kitchens, or mustard?
I have no comment at this time.
Very well. We're circled back to the Pinko. Do you, with all of your learning, your book learning, have any evidence of revolvers, kitchens, or mustards?
I certainly have no way of clearing your name, Colonel Mustard.
Okay then. Well then, let's move on to. Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. Where are we here? White, green, peacock.
I have no idea.
Okay, Scarlet. Like what?
I did do it.
It was me. Do you have any mustardly emanations from the kitchen or the revolver?
Well, let me see for a second. Perhaps it's that you may be looking for?
That's perfect. Exactly what I needed to clear my name.
Secrecy is afoot.
No, we've already been over this. We believe that it probably was in the back. Or at least in the kitchen.
And how would you know?
Precisely the question I would like answered. I like the way you think, Mrs. Peacock.
Oh, darling, I like the way you think.
I say it's not true what they say about women, and that they can't be detectives.
Oh, you flatter me.
I enter the kitchen and I look at Colonel Mustard existence, and I say, "Oh, please, obviously, it was
We're having a party.
The knife in the kitchen, and I believe Green.
Mr. Green with the knife in the kitchen, you say?
How dare you accuse Mr. Green? Don't you know who he is?
You. And I think that body a long time had some things applicable. In communist as it comes, he would want to murder Mr. Body.
Communism is a red herring.
Why would I want to murder Mr. Body? That's just ridiculous.
I
Surely
think-
someone has some evidence to disprove this spontaneous accusation.
If anybody would, it would be you, wouldn't it, Mr. Green? Can you clear your name?
Yourself,
somehow?
Mr. Green.
I don't need to answer these ridiculous questions. I'm gonna fix myself a sandwich while you sort it out.
I'd love to see a man in the kitchen.
Allow
With a
me.
knife.
To fix the sandwich for you as soon as suspicion is cleared. After all,
Mrs. Peacock?
So what?
sandwich aggressively.
Oh, is it my...
Do you have
Are
any
you
evidence?
asking me?
Yeah, evidence, yeah.
if it's Mr. Green in the where?
The kitchen with the knife.
Certainly could have done it if I wanted to.
I can neither confirm nor deny at this time.
Hey, Professor Plum.
Well, it turns out, I do happen to know of something. If you'll come with me, Mrs. White, I think many of these people are suspicious of me. And, you're the only one I trust right now, so... Here you are. This might interest you.
Interesting. This
There.
would be
Now can I have a sandwich?
You just thank you for not looking at that. Mrs. White, how dare you? I told you in confidence. All right.
here?
All right. Now it is Mr. Green's turn to roll the dice. Now, those of you who have been moved into the kitchen, keep in mind after you roll the dice, you do not have to move anywhere now if you would like to make a suggestion, because you're in a new room, so you don't have to leave a room. You can just stay in the kitchen if you would like to suggest something involving the kitchen.
You know what? While we're in the kitchen, maybe it was you, Mrs. White. Since you're throwing around accusations, maybe you're trying to cover your trails. Maybe you killed him in the knife with the kitchen. I mean, killed him with the kitchen and the knife.
Do you really think...
You know what I mean.
Do you really think the help is smart enough to do that?
It's always an inside job.
Oh, Mrs. Peacock.
Trust me, I have experience in these matters of a sort. So, what say you? Anything you can do to clear your name about not having stabbed him in the kitchen with a knife?
Mrs. Peacock, am I not smart enough?
Are you challenging me, darling?
You had something to exonerate me, please.
So it's Mr. Green that's accusing right now, right?
Yes. Well, he's
Suggesting,
suggesting.
technically.
Yeah.
Suggesting.
That it was
but
Miss
it's-
White in the kitchen with a knife.
And don't we start with Miss White and then go around the board
No,
to the
we
left?
start with the person to the left of the suggester, so that's why we're asking Mrs. Peacock.
In the kitchen with a knife, right?
Yes.
I cannot prove your whereabouts or prove your innocence. So what does it look like to you?
Yeah. To be perfectly honest, I can't either. I wish that I could, Mrs. White. I believe that in my heart of hearts, I know that someone who is taken care of, such as you, by Mr. Body wouldn't betray him so, but unfortunately I can't say.
It makes her the most likely to betray him.
Quite a cynic you are, Mr. Green.
I adore you.
Well,
Mr.
I'm a
Green.
man of the world.
Miss Scarlet, you seem to be quite quiet. Do you know something that you're not letting on?
Maybe. Come over here, Mr. Green. Maybe I got something I could tell you about that might interest.
Don't whisper in his ear. He's mine.
The knife with the kitchen.
This is
And
so
the
cute.
kitchen with the knife, Mrs. White. Things are coming together in my
I see.
mind.
Well, maybe it wasn't quite. Huh. I guess we'll keep looking. We'll find the answer.
Here's your sandwich.
Thanks.
Took you long enough.
All right, Mrs. Peacock. It's time
it's
for you
my
to roll,
turn.
roll the dice.
Fantastic. Five.
Roll a 5. Heading to the observatory, I see.
I am, so I can observe everything.
Conservatory.
Oh, conservatory, sorry.
Oh, it's far away from me.
Well, that's the way you can conserve everything. That's what I like to hear. Conservative America. Military.
Yes.
It's my department.
I don't know. You're so set on disproving yourself, Colonel. I would like to verify your innocence as well, so we may continue a lovely evening together. So I'm gonna move him to the conservatory.
I see what's going on here.
Alone at last.
You don't mind saying that you move me, Mrs. Peacock.
Oh dear. All right, so you are.
Let's
going
save
to...
America together.
I feel like there's a really bad country song for this. Can anyone just disprove Colonel Mustard's guilt? I believe in the kitchen with a knife.
I mean, in the conservatory. You're in the
With
Do I have to
conservatory.
do the? Do I have to do the room that I'm in?
Yep.
Okay, in the conservatory
With a knife?
With the knife?
with a knife.
Alright, let's move that, yeah.
You're just carrying a wrench around, Colonel.
He's
What?
a handyman.
What?
Alright, so that would be to me first. Unfortunately, no, I was in the dining room in the library most of the night. I never saw anybody over in the conservatory. Certainly not Colonel Mustard. I have no evidence to the contrary for you.
How about you, the help?
It's Miss Scarlet next.
Oh, is it? How about you, dear? Oh, when I was your age, I was a knockout as well.
Oh, I wish I could have been there to see that. Must have been some time ago.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I wasn't anywhere near the that room.
it wasn't
Right,
that
so
long
I-
ago, darling.
Oh, I see.
Can you, prove the good Colonel's innocence?
In this particular instance, I believe I cannot. I'm so sorry.
Very well. You're as useless as I thought.
Ouch.
This
I like you.
peacock has claws. Talons.
I believe that that will turn to
Next.
me.
Colonel.
Darling,
And
can you
Colonel
prove your own innocence?
Mustard, Conservatory, and the Kniff. Unfortunately, I don't have the evidence you're looking for.
See?
Goodness.
He doesn't even try to clear his own name. He can't.
It
wonder
should be
why.
so obvious.
I like a little danger in my men.
Well, soon
How about you?
your man will be in danger.
And who's next? Who can prove
Right.
the dear colonels?
Mrs. White, yeah.
Oh, the help.
And
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Fascinating. It appears you are slightly more useful than I anticipated.
the guest.
All right, I suppose
Well done.
I suppose that makes it my turn. I'm not gonna bother. I was moved to the lounge, so I'll stick with the lounge. And I will suggest perhaps that the murder was done by Mr. Green. This is quite a green room. I know people think that you may have been in the kitchen, but perhaps
I
you
spent most of my time in the lounge drinking, yes.
precisely.
What's the
yes.
point?
This pipe seems to fit well around your hand. Perhaps you had a disagreement with Mr. Body here before the rest of us arrived? Miss Scarlet? I know you showed up after the rest of us, but perhaps you know something about this. Mr. Green with the lead pipe in the lounge.
I don't believe I knew anything about that. I'm so sorry.
Colonel Mustard?
Colonel.
Sorry about that. I was responding to a superior officer in the chat.
A telegraph.
What's your question again?
Mr. Green with the lead pipe in the lounge.
No, I don't even want to help you, even if I could.
And Mrs. White, you had your eyes in many places in this house all evening. Tell me.
I have nothing to say here.
Very interesting, very interesting. Mr. Green, what do you have to say for yourself? The lead pipe?
By the way, you're a filthy communist, Professor Plum.
I'm not
I just
going.
wanted to-
I'm not going to even respond to such a hurtful accusation. Mr. Green, lead pipe, the lounge. Tell me you don't know how to wield this as a weapon, as I suspect.
You know, if I were gonna beat a man to death, it'd be in the lounge with a lead pipe. So, is that what you have to say? You gonna call me the killer? Go on then, make your call.
Huh.
You really think it was me? Well, yeah. If I was gonna murder someone, all I'd need was a lead pipe.
You see?
'Cause that's the kind of man I am. A
You
tough man.
do you
A man
see?
who can beat people to death with pipes.
Do you see? Mrs. Peacock, tell me, what have you to say about this?
About the lounge.
The
And
lounge.
a knife.
Mr. Green.
In my
and
dear
the
Mr.
the
Green's
lead
hand.
pipe. The lead pipe in the lounge with Mr. Green.
Well, I happen to know that from keeping a close eye on dear Mr. Green, that I can disprove your suggestion.
Okay. That's
We're
interesting.
keeping an awfully close eye on me, that's for sure.
I liked what I saw.
Very interesting. Thank you, Mrs. Peacock. I cherish our
anytime,
time
darling.
together.
Oh, me as well. Shall we meet later when all this is resolved?
Perhaps
Isn't it Mrs. Peacock?
Yes, darling.
I thought I was quite sure.
I'm sure that I resent the implication.
What implication?
I know nothing of the sort. Moving on. That would be
Whose turn is it
Miss
next?
Scarlet's turn to roll.
I still haven't figured out how we're determining the order yet.
It's if you look at the starting locations, which are colored on the board, we're going clockwise around the board itself, not around the table.
Why are there like 3 red ones?
Oh, look at the solid curved red one, not the one with the. That's just a poor table design.
And then
board
the
design.
other one is purple, not red.
Yeah.
So, whose turn is it?
My turn.
Scarlet.
Move to the living room. Mrs. Peacock, you've been prancing around all evening long. Wouldn't you happen to have been around the living room during this dreadful event? Maybe using some sort of candle holder to win our comment?
I don't know what you mean. Now, how dare you?
Would you come and meet me and we can discuss it?
Oh, darling, if you wanted to be alone, you just needed to ask.
Oh. So
Am I disproving first?
It would be Colonel Mustard would be first.
Yeah. So Peacock, Candlestick in the dining room. I'm afraid, sir, that you have been barking up the wrong horse. I have nothing for you.
Well,
Did you say you don't have anything either, Mrs. White?
I do. Here,
Oh.
Mrs. Scarlet.
Interesting. Where should we say? Peacock,
So easily
Candlestick,
disproven.
Candlestick.
well,
Clearly, I am very, very innocent in that regard.
you see my apologies, but one is never too sure.
I appreciate your caution. It's wise for a young lady.
Thank you.
All right, Colonel Mustard. Roll them dice. You know, the chat room, we've spun the wheel once, but we'd certainly love to spin it again.
Do it.
Spin the wheel. Make the deal. Who rules Bartertown? Nobody?
No, we got
Not
it.
aware of
Nope.
this reference.
All right, then.
Time, doesn't it?
The answer we were looking for was, who is Master Blaster? Savages. In fact, I was playing a post-apocalyptic Mad Max Bartertown type RPG when I was so rudely interrupted to come play new.
Darn.
I mean, it was
You know,
really
we're
fun,
all
but-
waiting
No,
for you to
I
roll the
said- I
dice,
didn't mean
right?
that sarcastically. I meant.
Are you talking to me? Is it my
Yes.
turn?
Yes, it's your
God,
turn.
I'm a punk. Forgive me. I'm a knave. I'm waxing philosophical about your shortcomings.
And
That's
a 4 was
Four.
rolled. Yes.
That will just get me into the ballroom.
Interesting.
Are you leaving me? Oh wait, I'm not there anymore. Okay to leave now.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a stab at this. Mustard in the ballroom with a knife. Please let me know if you have anything having to do with that, Mrs. White.
I do.
Colonel Mustard, you seem to be quite confused and not sure if it was yourself or someone else.
It's important to have evidence when people
Indeed.
accuse you.
Get off the table.
I have studied psychology extensively, and it would appear that you might be having a break with reality.
Well, thank you for that, Miss White. I will not appreciate your service.
A red-blooded capitalist, think that he was not cleared of suspicion, I suppose.
As the kids say, I'm here for this. Yeet.
I've never had a child say this. I rolled a 3, so meh. I'm going to take the secret passage that I'm very well aware of in my own kitchen to go straight across the study.
Indubitably.
I will accuse, or not accuse, I'm going to suggest it may have been.
Accuse? Scandal!
Suggest. Miss Scarlet in the study with a knife.
Heyo, we just got $25.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time. Somebody is paid. It's time to give them their just rewards because capitalism lifts every boat that's
right.
sinking.
So we're gonna
This
spin
came
the
from-
wheel.
Where
Capitalism
did this come
sinks
from?
all boats.
Thomas
Where did this
Cool.
card come from?
Yeah, who gave it?
Mr. Green. Okay. Thank you.
Thomas Cool. We're gonna spin the wheel, and you're gonna help us decide what happens. Thanks for the donation of $25 that causes us to spin the wheel. And romance. Ooh, romance. So, you get to decide. If you're in the chat room, it's possible that this. Oh, he is. You get to decide between which two players, or which two characters, a romance is budding, and they will roleplay that out. We'll continue on until we see your response in the chat, and then we'll have our little vignette at that time. But until then, Mr. Green, it's time to roll the dice. Did you already? I see that it's a 7 now.
Mrs.
Yep.
White fluffed her hair. And Mustard's presence. Fan.
Oz, you're my hero.
I think
This
I
apron
will
suddenly
stay,
feels very tight.
I'll stay in the lounge and say, you know, it's possible he was beaten to death with something besides a lead pipe. It could have been,
Oh
you know,
dear.
perhaps a wrench.
Interesting. Yes, I did see what looked like may have been bludgeoning marks on the body. I have in my time studied autopsy and biology.
Yes, and even someone you wouldn't suspect, like
Colonel
a
Mustard.
woman,
Oh.
maid, might perhaps be able to murder someone wielding a wrench such as that. So, Mrs. White, why don't you come to the lounge and we'll see about the evidence here. First off, I
Who?
suppose we should listen to what Mrs. Peacock has to say. What do you think? Do you think Mrs. White could have bludgeoned the poor man with a wrench?
In what room, darling?
In the lounge.
In the lounge. I really don't think that's likely. I mean, you've met the poor girl, right?
I'm talking about evidence here, not opinions and suggestions. You have something more thorough to go on?
If I can get the thing to move, yeah.
I can see you're trying to say something, but
Here,
having
take
trouble
that.
finding the words.
Cool. So there you go. Yeah. After that, our donor has spoken and would love to see some romance between Mr. Green and Miss Scarlet.
I would love to see that too.
I think we all would.
All right, let's role play that scene then.
Yeah.
Let me put some
Romantic music out.
yes, here, slow dance.
I'm
Slow
not
dance or
really sure
romantic?
how this would even start.
Well, it doesn't have to be Mr. Green who initiates it.
You know,
I'm watching, babe.
That you gotta be careful. You know, Mr. Green, that last suggestion you had was not the right one, but it was certainly well thought out and very smart.
Thank you. You know, I really like a woman who tells me when I'm right. That's a very attractive quality. I normally don't think much of your gender, kind of ornamental, as it were. But you know, you telling me I'm right, it makes me think maybe there is a use for you and the fairer sex after all.
Oh my dear, you're such a charmer, such a pragmatic and focused man.
I feel so dirty.
Oh God.
I think that was worth it. All right.
I've never been so happy. More $25, please.
Yeah.
Well, maybe after our names are cleared, we can consider, well, maybe if we have a future together then.
That would be, I'm sure, pretty interesting.
Now, I will tell you guys who are watching, most of the things that are on, pretty much everything that's on that wheel is a little, will result in a little role play vignette like that. So continue to do it. But I wanted to make sure that it was clear that we don't require that someone, an individual, make a $25 donation. We just, every time we get, once we have accumulated $25 more, we will spin the wheel, and whoever did it last will get to decide. So. Continue on. That was, I guess it's Mrs. Peacock's role now.
Well, I am quite distracted by recent occurrences, but suppose I'll make a roll. 8. Well.
You really get around.
Certainly does.
I am quite experienced, darling. I believe I will head to with my 8.
Boku wa potato. We are in the middle of a Stream-a-Thon that will provide us the funds we need to continue operations during the rest of the year. So all the donations that are happening tonight are going directly toward our Stream-a-Thon. And at last check, I think we were somewhere around.
We are
90,000.
30. I'm sorry to cut you off. I wanted to give you the exact number. 90% of the way towards our $4,000 goal. We have $3,600. We're doing amazingly. We're less than 10 hours into the Stream-a-Thon. So guys, we do have stretch goals to go after this, and I think we're on good trajectory to make that happen. We've made $50 so far during this show, and our goal for just this show is $75. So really, if we spin the wheel one more time, we've done our job. All right, guys. That doesn't mean we can't spin it more.
Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Please let more of this roleplay happen, please.
Yeah. Whose turn is it?
It is mine, and I've made it to the hole, darling.
The hole?
No.
It's racist.
What?
Racist to holes.
All right. Let's see. I believe I'm still after clearing Colonel Mustard's name. So come join me, darling.
Very well. I see we have a rope already here.
A what? A rope? Oh dear, darling. Pour me some more wine first.
Perhaps I misunderstood the implication. Forgive me. But why am I in the room with Mr. Purple?
Did I move the wrong person? I totally moved the wrong person, guys. I've had it like a half a bottle of wine. So...
That's okay. This
It
is
was
your last show
nice
for the night.
while it lasted, I suppose.
There you go. There you go. All right.
Ah,
Okay, so...
I find you even more attractive now.
Let's see. Can anyone prove that my dear Colonel Mustard is innocent of being in the hole with a rope? Since it's here. How about we start with... Who do we start with?
Mr. Plum.
Mr. Plum.
Professor
Plum.
I went to university for quite a number of years to earn that title of professor.
Apologies, darling. I meant no disrespect.
It's quite all right. The events of tonight have gotten me quite emotional. I don't normally act out like that.
Emotional enough to kill someone?
Certainly emotional enough to not emotional enough to not overreact, especially when I'm speaking to a woman. I apologize.
Oh, darling, none taken. I like a assertive man.
No, you're looking for
Communism.
you're looking for a way to clear Colonel Mustard's name. I can't do that, or maybe I can. Perhaps I can. Let me think for a moment about the night's events, and maybe I can help with that a little bit. Something about here.
I see. Well, that's just more evidence that my dearest is innocent.
Yes, evidence is what we need. Deduction is made by uncovering facts, and facts will lead us to the murderer.
That's quite intelligent of you. I'm impressed by a man with a sharp mind.
It doesn't surprise me. It is impressive. My mind, that is.
Well, Plum, why don't you give us a guess as to who you think did it?
Well,
Walk us through your process.
let me roll the dice here. I'll show you. The first thing to do is to make no assumptions, and never let your biases control the way you think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That won't be far enough. I'm going to think for a moment and lean on this wall panel. Oh! There seems to be a secret passage here. Where will it lead me? The conservatory. This would be quite a convenient place to commit a murder. There's water here for cleaning up blood.
Would anybody mind if I took my jacket off? It's quite stuffy in here.
Oh, please, we're alone. There's no reason to be shy.
And while you were loosening up the pipes to get the water to come out, you might have had the wrench in hand, Mr. Green. Where are you, Mr. Green? You're a sneaky fellow. Oh, there you are.
What? I'm not the least bit sneaky.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you did not sneak into the conservatory and use this wrench to bludgeon Mr. Body. And I'm sure that if that's the truth, you'll tell me. Or maybe Miss Scarlet will.
Yes, I'm sure Miss Scarlet will come to my aid.
In the conservatory, she is your
She's
lover.
always telling me how right I am.
I see. I've
It's
heard
another
you.
endearing quality.
I heard you two speaking earlier. Perhaps you are in cahoots.
Well,
Mr. Green with
I
the wrench
do
in the
believe-
conservatory. Speak, woman.
oh, calm down. My dear has nothing to do with any of that.
Of course.
I don't have anything to show for it, but if he says he has nothing to do with it, I believe as well as true.
Colonel Mustard, surely you've seen something that could be useful.
Colonel Mustard, useful. Ha!
Mr. Green and the wrench in the conservatory, huh?
Yes.
He probably purchased that commission of his.
No, now.
That's a hurtful statement.
I do respect a man of high rank in the military. It takes quite a bit of intellect to be able to have a tactical and strategic mind.
That's right. Even though Colonel is a honorary title, I can't. I have to pass because I don't have anything.
If you've never been in the service, you wouldn't have such opinion of officers.
I've been in the service, of course.
Don't know their asses from the holes in the ground they make from their mistakes.
Mrs. White?
That's statistically speaking not true.
So, conservatory, wrench.
Green.
To Mr. Green. Thing for you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I will take that into consideration.
As you can see, though, I am a real American.
I should say so.
Something
I
is
fight
going
for the
wrong
right
with this
of
card.
every man.
Try it again.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
It's over here. I did that on purpose. Something's going wrong with it.
Prayers.
You might
and
want to
training
keep it
and
upside
violence.
down because it keeps flipping the wrong way. I don't know why. All right. Whose turn is it after mine? Colonel Mustard, roll those dice.
I can't help but see that Miss Scarlet is there on the table. Before.
Oh, just kidding, Miss Scarlet. I apologize. I truly am not the chauvinist I appear to be right now.
Oh, don't worry so much.
How can you not worry at a time like this when murder is afoot?
Colonel Mustard, stop throwing Mr. Green around on the table.
I resent his relationship with Miss Scarlet.
Miss Scarlet seemed to have used a little wine tonight to calm her nerve about the situation. It's moving pretty slowly, it's sluggishly. So that was her turn.
Miss Peacock needs to remove herself to the little girl's room for a moment. Sorry.
Colonel Mustard.
Please, throw more things off tables.
Let me see here. And that'll be my turn. Just stretching my legs.
Of course it will.
All right. I'm determined to figure out who killed my employer. I will make it over to the dining room. And I will suggest... Failing.
Oh, wow.
Housing. Mustard. And you in the dining room with
The candlestick. Mr. Green.
Oh, is it my turn to say something? I've got nothing to say on the matter. I'm just thinking about Miss Scarlet.
Dining room candlestick, Colonel Mustard. Nothing to say about it, huh? Well, I guess
It's highly likely Colonel Mustard killed the man. I just don't know where he did it or with what.
perhaps Mrs. Peacock can shed light on the situation.
about Mr. Mustard, Colonel, that is in the dining room with the candlestick.
Honorary indeed. You can't even remember to use it.
It's just that I like the Beatles.
Cuckoo.
I can't hear you.
Peacock.
Now, who would possibly suggest such a thing?
Well, it's not me, but
Mrs. White actually would suggest such a thing.
Of course, the fool.
She did.
Maybe you can start letting the adults talk now?
That other card had a question mark on it when you flipped it over, so it looks like it's fixed now. FYI. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Now fill my glass and be on your way.
Right away.
You certainly, Mrs. Peacock, you certainly know how to get results out of the help. You must have a maid of your own.
Of course, darling.
Just thinking about it? Oh, you were accidentally moving me, okay.
Yep, I wander back out into the hall.
Alright. Did you... Ah! Oh, you went 3, okay.
he doesn't have much experience with investigating murders. You could say that he's rather green.
Hilarious.
Well played, Colonel.
It's pretty late. I'm surprised that more people aren't laughing at these awful jokes.
Oh, we are at another $25.
Ooh.
Does that mean we get to spin the wheel and make the deal?
It does.
Do it.
An anonymous person gave the last $10 perk though. Was it
All right, then.
So we don't know who it is. We're gonna spin the wheel, but if it was you in the chat room, you should speak up so that you can decide this. But if you don't, then we're gonna have to use some other means of figuring this out. I'm spinning the wheel since we hit the $25, and we're gonna find out what happened. Run dramatically. Okay, so that means somebody is gonna end up running dramatically out of.
What does that mean?
It means someone is gonna run dramatically out of the situation that they're in right now. Perhaps.
Yes, and they're gonna roll bonus dice.
Oh, okay. So there's a mechanical benefit to this one. So do we, in the chat room, do we know who, whoops, don't do that. Do we know who did that, or are we gonna have to guess? Hey, don't do that either.
Why don't we roll a single d6 and, figure out who's won and then go clockwise around the...
We'll start with Colonel Mustard as the one. I mean, not Colonel Mustard, I meant Miss Scarlet, like the normal order that you go.
Scarlet will run dramatically.
So,
Have we rolled yet?
2 dice?
I guess you would roll.
I guess you can roll a third die. So roll 2 and then roll 1 again. And you'll also have to describe how you run dramatically.
Ah, God.
So wait, did we roll already to see who it was?
Yep.
It'll be and it'll be on Miss Scarlet's turn. She'll roll a third die on her turn.
Oh,
And just run
No.
anywhere?
Just wherever she feels like it's gonna give. She'll have a greater move, by rolling 3 dice. So, but she's gonna have to describe
Wow.
how she dramatically runs with that.
all right. I guess I'll do that on my turn.
Or does he get to do that now?
Nope, on his
She.
turn. She gets to do that
Apologies.
on her turn.
I think it's Peacock's turn now, right?
Yep.
Excellent.
feel like these turns are taking forever. I don't remember the game going this.
It doesn't. Welcome to Once Upon a Tabletop, where we role play the action at the table.
Okay. Jolly good, jolly good.
1, 2, 3, and I'm in the study.
Also, the games with more people last a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets so fewer cards, and you have to take other people's turns. So when you play with like 1 or 2 people, you can probably bust out a couple games in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I've never actually played this game before.
Really? I love this game. And I love the movie even more.
I've learned over time to never trust a pretty face, so I'm going to accuse Miss Scarlet in the study, or not accuse, suggest Miss Scarlet in the study with a knife. Anyone care to prove me wrong?
I guess it would be me first. In the study with the knife, you say?
That's what I say.
It would not be you. It would be me.
No.
That's what I say to dear
Oh wait, no, sorry,
Mustard.
my bad.
No, I can't disprove that. Miss Scarlet, can you? What do you have to say for yourself?
Come on, my dear, you should know better that a lady such as I wouldn't do such a. Nope, I think I dropped the card. Yeah.
I've got it, darling. Don't worry, just watch me bend over and pick it up. Interesting. Very interesting. I suppose it's not likely.
As I told you.
Right, Professor Plum.
All right. Going to roll. I'm just going to head back to the lounge again. There's something about this room. It speaks murder. But I do believe Mr. Green, maybe it wasn't with the lead pipe, Mr. Green, but maybe it was with the wrench here in the lounge. Tell me
This
I'm wrong, Miss
again.
Scarlet. I want to be wrong. A respectable businessman like Mr. Green would never do such a thing, but we must rely on hard facts. Ah!
What just happened?
I struck the microphone in rage.
Well, maybe Miss Scarlet has something she can say that will exonerate me.
Miss Scarlet, Mr. Green with the wrench in the lounge. What say you?
This is my darling could have never done such a thing, but I lack the facts to explain myself right now. I'm so sorry.
What about you,
And
Colonel?
I could never have done it. I could have done it if I wanted to. I have a strong arm.
Colonel Mustard?
Green wrench in the lounge, huh?
Yes.
No, I'm afraid not.
All right.
Neither do I. I have nothing against that.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Green. Wrench? Lounge?
But I certainly don't have to defend myself.
Peacock. Tell me you have something.
If I were gonna kill a man, sure, I'd probably use a wrench and beat him in his own lounge.
As heartbroken as I am by Mr. Green's clear affections for another, I cannot tell a lie. I don't believe it's true.
I see. Thank you.
Of course, my dear Professor.
Miss Scarlet. Carry on.
Alright, it appears that a loud bang coming from the outside, potentially a thunderstruck coming from coming storm, because it's getting late at night. seems to scare Miss Scarlet, and she starts running down the aisle, screaming dramatically.
Wow, that's
I
a
wanna-
9 already, and then you re-rolled a 2, so that's a 11.
I'm pretty curious at how this screaming sounds, my love.
Ah, please, no.
Subtitle: Scream in French.
Exactly. But I'm not gonna try that. I'm just gonna break my voice and everyone's art.
Is that like the little piggy that cried wee 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 all the way home?
Hey! Get it? Because he's French.
Oh!
Or he speaks French.
That
Maybe
took
he's
me way
French
too long.
Canadian bacon. It's this little piggy that cries wee.
Scarlet running too.
Does anyone have the power to mute Opti?
I do, but I would never do such a thing when I'm enjoying it so much.
People live for this stuff.
Yeah,
Made
that
it
was
all the
terrible.
way down the hall, huh?
Yep.
All right. Colonel Mustard, it's your roll.
How far are we from another 25? I want to see something else ridiculous happen.
We're 25 away from another 25.
Ah!
So we'll keep it up, guys. We've got, and speaking of 25s, we've got 25 minutes left on this show, so we're gonna keep it moving.
Yes, any of us are.
All right. Mustard, ballroom, candlestick. Show me what you got, Mrs. White. Perhaps she's fallen asleep.
Oh, you can never rely on the help.
I have nothing.
Of value to offer. How about the next person, Mr. Green?
Yeah, I suppose it's entirely likely you killed him in the ballroom.
I do hate dancing. How about you, Peacock?
In the ballroom, yourself with a what?
Candlestick.
Oh.
No, he's not propositioning you. He's suggesting you might have committed the murder that way.
Oh! Oh! I wish I could give you inspiration or edge or something. That was well played, Mr. Green.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
It was well done.
Why, thank you. I appreciate you showing me that.
Oh, I think Miss Peacock is my favorite character I've played in a while.
One die here. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. All right, Mrs. White.
2. What an exciting turn.
Good. Wonderful. 1. Oh, that's...
I managed to roll a virtual die such that it is cocked.
I guess you need to roll that
in
one
the
again.
middle of a table, like a flat table.
It's a 5.
I'm gonna go back to the conservatory. You know, maybe it was done here. Let's see, who could have done it though? I'm thinking it was probably Colonel Mustard. He's very suspicious. And, it does seem that lead pipe is bent like someone hit someone with it. I bet that's the murder weapon. So, conservatory, Colonel Mustard, lead pipe. I'm not saying it's how it's done, but I'll suggest it as a possibility. Anyone have anything to counter that? I guess we'll start with oh, Mrs. Peacock. You're a rational woman. What do you have to say for your evidence?
A lead pipe in the hole, and it's Colonel Mustard.
No,
you
conservatory.
said? Oh, conservatory with lead pipe and Colonel Mustard. As determined as I am of the dear Colonel's innocence, I can neither confirm or deny.
I thought so. What about you, Professor Plum? You're always keen on suggesting that I might have had something to do with it. Do you have any suggestions or evidence that might
Yes,
rule out this
I do.
mustard?
Take a gander at what I've got right here. Certainly it wasn't done in this way or by this person or in this room, of which we're talking about now.
Well, I think you might have a point there. I hadn't considered that. But, I don't know where the card went now that you dropped it off the table. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Next is
Colonel Mustard, you're way too happy with your hand on this game.
Mrs. Peacock.
Such innuendo.
Phrasing.
Here, hold my hand, darling. Hold still. There we are. Oh!
This virtual tabletop makes me happy.
Dear girl. Apologies.
7, huh?
7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The library. Well. Could it possibly be a lead pipe that is slightly bent, as the dear Mr. Green said? The library, and again proving my dear Colonel's innocence. I never let you get far for long.
Just take me along with you, wherever you go.
Always, my darling. Can anyone disprove this? Who do we start with?
Me! You said lead pipe, library, Colonel Mustard, huh?
That's what I said.
Well, what do you say about this?
Let me flip it over.
Exactly. This is a two-pipe problem.
I may swoon. Thank you for confiding in me, darling.
Indeed.
My dear Professor.
Indeed. A woman of such experience, I knew would know what to do with this information.
Snicked.
Professor Plum?
Let's see. I'm trying to find
plumb
the
out
dice
of
here. They
ideas.
are. Okay. Let's roll those and see what that gets me. That's a 9. Excuse me. I would like to perhaps. We've got a thing over there. I want to head across to the dining room. I was sleeping in the lounge. I'm going to go to the dining room. Mr. Green, come with me.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
Mr. Green, I'm looking for every opportunity for you to clear your name. I can't.
For every opportunity to harass me, you obnoxious man, you.
There are lots of people around that all suspect that it may be someone as shrewd as you. Someone with the gumption and the spirit to commit such a murder, but I want you to know that I'm on your
thank
side. Where have all the weapons gone? Oh, they're all in the hall. Okay.
Mrs. Peacock's been stockpiling them. I think she's
I like
getting ready for an assault.
material goods.
Well, if I could...
All right. Well, what do you suggest I committed the murder with here?
I
in
don't
the dining
suggest
room?
it. I want you to take this wrench and tell me how I can convince the others that it wasn't you. Perhaps Miss Scarlet could assist with that. You've been spending much time talking to her. Miss Scarlet.
I haven't seen her in a while, actually. Do you know what happened with her? I haven't seen her around.
Still running in the background.
The dining room with the wrench, Mr. Green. Tell me, Miss Scarlet, what do you know?
I know nothing of that. I'm so sorry.
I know nothing. All right. Colonel Mustard?
I do not.
Well, interesting indeed. Mrs. White.
I do.
Okay. Shoot. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Mrs. White, thank you. Your assistance was quite useful in this matter. I will contemplate what just happened and the information I have.
I suppose in times of tragedy...
All right. Miss Scarlet, it's time for you to do something.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to end this game with every one of us guessing, and then we'll flip it over and see.
Soon.
Unless we somehow
I think very
get to
soon.
the
I was
end.
thinking the same thing. In about 5 minutes, we might have to go around and make some guesses.
Let's gonna build our room for no, that's already been said. Let me think for a second. Mr. Mustard, Colonel, if you would please join me in the bid-out room, I would have some questions to ask you about the
Oh God!
stuff on the rope.
Sorry.
You should quit smoking.
It's bad. I hear it's bad for my health.
It's getting bad for my ears.
Great.
So yeah, Mr. Mustard, once you'll be done throwing stuff off the board, you can maybe join me in the...
I'm already there.
Oh, there you are.
Sneaky fellow.
Sneaky Colonel, in the bid-out room with the rope. Is anyone...
Let's hear what Mrs. Peacock has to say first.
Oh, me. Well, as I've been saying this entire evening, I think it's unlikely that my dear Colonel did anything of the sort.
And once again, you're very right. I'm sorry to have bothered you with that, but never too sure.
What's the weapon you had?
Rope.
It's in the hall.
The show? Peacock had something to show?
Yes, Miss Peacock did have something to show.
Yep. She did.
I always have something to show, darling.
Heyo. The ballroom, Colonel. Dancing at a time like this.
I will do the ballroom,
Blitz.
mustard, and the rope. to you, Miss White.
Thing.
She knows nothing. What about you, Mr. Green?
I think that sounds entirely plausible.
How about Mrs. Peacock?
Sorry, darling. This wine has been very delicious, and I wasn't focused. What was that?
Ballroom, Rope, and myself.
I'm afraid I cannot vouch for you this time, darling.
All right, then. How about you, Plum?
Ballroom, Rope. Well, I did hear one thing. Let me tell you what I heard after I find you. Whoa, jeez.
Yeah, I could see that the whole time, so...
Well, now we all know.
I don't think the rest of us saw it.
Good. Flip it over before I send it back. It appears that the 10 hours of streaming is getting to me.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. We've had our differences this evening, but I think you've forgotten.
With the evening wrapping up, how close are we to another 25?
We're 25 away from 25. But I think we've reached the point where we must solve this mystery now. So I would like all of us to collect in the
We have turns that haven't been taken.
I mean, we can do that if you want with 10 minutes left. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay.
Who's next?
Who's going right now?
So Colonel just went, correct?
Yeah.
So now it's Miss Scarlet's turn.
No, it's Mrs. White's turn.
Oh, sorry.
X is not getting me far enough. Let's do dining room again then. I suggest dining room.
No one. You were cutting out again. You said dining room.
Dining room, wrench, Colonel Mustard.
Okay.
And that would be Mr. Green to disprove, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, I think that seems as likely as any other possible idea that hasn't been disproven. I think Colonel Mustard is probably the killer. Probably.
That's blasphemy, darling.
You're right. I don't think he seems to have the spine for it, but
Even if I did,
Seems the likely
I had a good
culprit.
reason. If I did.
Yeah.
And it's to keep you ingrates safe.
Peacock, what do you know?
I cannot defend you, my darling. In this case.
So it goes to me then, is that correct? Dining room, wrench, something or other. I also have no way of disproving this theory.
Scarlet.
Well, I don't believe I can either.
And so it comes back to Colonel Mustard himself.
Mustard, dining room, wrench, eh?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to say that I can't or won't give any evidence.
I mean, you can't.
He has any evidence to disprove this. Interesting.
All right, then.
Not being accusing, but I have my eye on you. Still have you left to figure out.
All right, Mr. Green.
Yes. Oh, do I take a turn?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, dear.
Yes.
See, Colonel Mustard was just suggested here with the wrench, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Well, I think it maybe was Colonel Mustard. I think it could have been in here, maybe. But what if he did it with a rope?
Huh. Interesting idea. Mrs. Peacock. What do you have to say about that?
About the dining room with Colonel Mustard and a rope.
Yes, excuse me.
I have nothing to say.
Disgusting.
The thought is ridiculous.
Communist school.
I'm sorry, it was such fun
I would
cooking.
never kill anyone with a rope.
Such
in
fun
the dining
cooking,
room.
Mrs. White. You would never kill anyone with a rope, he said. On purpose, perhaps.
In the dining room. Like, if I was going to kill someone in the dining room, it definitely wouldn't be with the rope.
So did you have any evidence, Mrs. Peacock?
No, I did not.
Okay, I do. This goes to Mr. Green. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. I heard something, a strange something or other that you might be interested in, Mr. Green.
I see. Well, I suppose that throws that theory out of the works then.
All right, Mrs. Peacock. Let's see what you got. We got my turn, and then Mrs. Peacock, then
Wait,
my
did
turn,
he-
and then we're done.
Did Mr. Green just show you something?
I showed Mr. Green something. It's Mrs. Peacock's turn to roll.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't get far enough, unfortunately.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and roll then. I won't get anywhere useful either. So with my turn, instead of going anywhere, I'm just going to go ahead and make an accusation. Ha! This is how I think it happened. I believe Colonel Mustard used the wrench to kill Mr. Body.
What?
And he did it in the billiard room.
You dare to make such an accusation?
You and I think much alike, sir. I was
don't have
thinking
any
much the
evidence?
same thing.
I'm gonna take a look at these cards in secret, and we'll see. It appears that I was wrong.
Ha ha! I knew that I didn't do it.
I'm just gonna leave these cards here since we're all about to make accusations. So everyone
What
has
a
to, one at a time. We'll start with Miss Scarlet. You need to make an accusation, and we'll find out if you were right. You know what? We need to do it one at a time. Okay.
Colonel Mustard with the wrench in the dining room.
Do you want me to just tell you, since I have them right here, do you want me to just tell you if they're right? Since it doesn't have any bearing
Yeah.
on anything? That's-
Who did you just guess, Thomas?
The Colonel Mustard wrench, dining room.
That is incorrect. It was not. Colonel Mustard, what do you have to say for yourself? Who do you think has committed this murder?
I have to say that it was probably me.
Psychological problems indeed.
I'm also of the opinion that I hit him with the wrench. However, I also know that I didn't do it in the dining room. And I'm also fairly confident it wasn't in the billiard room.
Those are
So I'm
good.
gonna-
Those are good presumptions.
So, I guess I have to take a wild guess, and Well, I'm gonna guess it was in the library.
I'm sorry, that's not where or where, how, or who it happened. This is, you're incorrect.
Darn it.
I know what happened.
Mrs. White?
Take a shot in the dark. I do believe that it was Colonel Mustard with the wrench, but perhaps.
Say that one more time. Where? I read your lips. You said in the hall? Is that right? All right. Indeed! We have solved this. We have solved the mystery. Colonel Mustard!
Indeed.
The constable. Then we hear a bang on the door. The constable has arrived.
Arrest these people! They've all killed Mr. Body.
We have incontrovertible evidence that Colonel Mustard is a murderer.
Where?
Right here, these 3 cards.
The evidence.
Does it keep just bouncing back?
Well done, Colonel Mustard. You saved me the trouble. I was planning on doing him in overnight.
In true murder mystery fashion, you have to have some sort of a dramatic monologue on your way out as you're being handcuffed and dragged out of the door, Colonel Mustard.
I was so upset at him that when we were in the war together, he was literally the only person that could not tell his ass from a hole in the ground and ended up crapping all over my tent. I was so angry that I vowed then and there to get revenge for having the only brown tent in the service. They called me
a brown tent.
The corn kernel.
Oh, that's why they call you a colonel.
And I vowed I would never let him get away with giving me that awful nickname.
Oh man, that's amazing. That was Once Upon a Tabletop, everybody. Thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yay!
Yay!
We managed to overcome. We have one last thing that we're supposed to do at the end of every tabletop, Once Upon a Tabletop episode. Colonel Mustard, in your frustration, we'll let you do it. Do you know how to flip the table? There's a flip button at the top. We always flip the table at the end of every Once Upon a Tabletop. There we go. The table has been flipped. And that is the end of this episode. We managed to raise, I think, $75 during this episode, which is what our goal was. So thank you guys who are watching. We are 91% of the way towards our $4,000 goal for this Stream-a-Thon. Only 10.5 hours in, and so that means we have 25.5 to go. I'm going to make it quick here because we're just cutting into the time for Jackbox, which comes up. Oz, you're not done yet. Stop rubbing your eyes. Don't show any signs of being tired because you have
weakness. You
have another 2 hours to go before. So stick around. Oz is going to be playing with the Shadowcaster's own Paige Jones on of Join the Anarchy. They're going to be playing Jackbox games. Jackbox Party Pack 5. On the Shadowcasters network, which is where you are right now. So stick around. That'll happen. And that's a really fun game that's very interactive. By the nature of it, you get to play along with using your phone or your computer or your mobile device or something like that. So it's super easy. Oz will explain it when the time comes. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, no, you know what? Sarah, I will thank you, of course, because you've been here all evening, but I would really especially like to thank Opti and Thomas for bailing us out tonight. We had a rough start because of some scheduling mishaps, and we recovered pretty well because you guys came in and saved us at the last minute. Thank you so much.
Of course.
My pleasure.
Yep. So, we're getting to it. Thank you, Cliff and Sarah, for playing with us tonight. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is now the first point in the Stream-a-Thon that I get to walk away for a while.
Yeah.
So you guys have fun. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'll be back in the morning.
Yep,
Less than
absolutely.
8 hours from now.
I will also be back in the morning, about 8 hours. Oh, nope.
Yeah, 10
No,
a.m.
less than
10 a.m. is when Opti, you're going to be joining us again for some Shadowrun 6th Edition mechanics showcasing. I'm going to be back in 2 hours after Jackbox. I'm going to pick up with Paige again, and her and I are going to play some Left 4 Dead 2. I am not a fan of horror games because they make me scream. So if you want to see that happen, you should join in. I've never played this game, and Paige thought it would be hilarious if I did it on stream. So it probably will be.
I love you saying that with your bow tie.
Yeah. So I'm going to go, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream. Stick around, guys. Oz is going to pick right back up with Jackbox. And thank you so much. $60. You got to make $60 before the end of Jackbox, Oz. So far, we've been on track. All right, thank you, guys. And we'll be right back.